Okay, here we go. Episode 4 already. Yeah,
Wow.
Episode 4. We made it this far. But we got a couple young ones on again. We got Max Crabtree, Brody Bridgeman coming on. And we're going to recap a little bit of last week, just like we said every time. We're going to miss something. And
we did.
And we already did. We had Corbin Keith, 2 feature wins, and he won 3.
Yep. Sorry about that, Corbin.
So we got to give him that extra one. That's a big deal.
Yep. Then also, we really want to thank Andy Moss. He made us a new logo last week.
Yep.
And we dropped the ball and didn't even thank him. It's down here in one of these corners. I don't know which one. But thank you for that awesome logo, Andy. We appreciate it. And
Yep. I mean, I really appreciate him doing a lot of stuff. He's done all our cars and everything over there at Expert. So he was jumping on board when he seen our first one. It looked like a stick figure. So I knew he would want us to have something a little better than that. But that's pretty good. But
yeah. So thanks, Andy and Expert. And I think we're in talks with Expert on sponsorship deals. So
yeah, maybe that'll happen,
works out.
Man. So that'll be pretty good.
I know they've been doing a lot of race cars and do a heck of a job. So
what else you want to get started on?
Well,
first of all, I don't know if anybody knows, but over in Leadington, KFC buffet's back.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody knew that, but
I've been twice this week.
You've been twice?
Yeah.
Jesus,
I went
man.
Friday, and then
I just thought about it. I didn't know I could go that many times already, but yeah.
Well, when Lexi was little, it was Red Chicken. That's what she called it. So we anytime we go to the races, we'd go to Red Chicken and eat. Well, we had a daddy-daughter day yesterday, and I said, "You want to go to Red Chicken, Lexi?" She said, "Dad, it's Kentucky Fried Chicken." I said, "Well, it used to be Red Chicken. Well, I'm not a little kid anymore."
I mean, I know a lot of people don't like the buffet stuff because everybody thinks it's gross since COVID. But before COVID, everybody was elbow deep in a buffet. They don't care. And then COVID happened, and now everybody's like, buffet's so gross, man. Oh, shoot.
I still don't care, man.
No. I watch.
I had about 10 pieces of chicken.
Yeah,
it was good.
Kids would be picking their nose and then digging in the taters and everything.
Yeah.
I still eat it.
But we eat track burgers covered in dust and dirt.
Yeah.
And
in our trailer, man, there's food laying all over the place, and we eat all of it. So,
but hey,
I just had to bring that up because I drove by it the other day, and I was like, man, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I was excited. I seen that, and I'm like, man, can't wait. So,
well,
I do want to touch on. We got a big episode coming up next week. So, after everybody watches this episode, be sure to tune in next week. We got a big announcement next week. So,
yep, we're going to be releasing some pretty cool stuff, and it'll all release during the Tulsa Shootout. Yep. I guess the Friday that everyone is at the Tulsa Shootout, everything will be released, and some of it's kind of leaking out. I've seen here and there just because tracks are putting out some of their schedules, but I think the majority of it and big money type things will be released then.
Yep. Well, before we get our guest on today, you got anything local you want to touch on?
I do got some local stuff. So we kind of had a troll hit us, on Facebook.
We
did. You see that?
I did.
Okay. We had a guy try to troll us out a little bit, and he said that we weren't really doing local stuff, and he said, I thought this was supposed to be about local things, and everyone we've had on has been a local racer, and we're talking about them going places and doing things. Maybe it ain't local, but all these tracks we talk about around here are our local tracks. These are considered our local tracks within 2 or 3 hours or something.
Right.
But he tried to troll us up a little bit about not being on local stuff, and I wasn't really going to mention his name just because I didn't want to give him any credit or any publicity. But, I mean, his name rhymes with Ronnie Hartley Jr.
I've heard of that name.
If you know who that is, but so he tried to troll us a little bit about not being on local stuff. So I wanted to give the local report real quick for him. That way he could tune out after I give the local report.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. I'll let you handle this one.
So Friday night at Doe Run, they were closed and there were 0 cars there.
Man.
And then Saturday night, Farmington was closed and there wasn't any cars there either. So
that's not good for the promoters.
No. So I mean, but that's what Ronnie wanted to hear. So there we go, Ronnie. I mean, no tracks, had 0 cars, and it's the way we roll, man. And I mean, which he did reach out too, though. I mean, he's told us his plans for next year, and I wasn't going to give him out, but I mean, I'll help him out. And I mean, I think he's mostly going to run his 410 or whatever at Farmington, and he's got a couple big races he's going to hit up too.
Does he?
Yeah, I think he had 2 pretty big ones. He's got I think he's going to hit up Karsh Street, try to knock out some businesses.
Karsh Boulevard?
Yeah, Karsh Boulevard.
Okay.
He's going to try to knock out some of those businesses. And then he's going to, I think the big main race he's going to have is he's going to be up on Church Street in Bon Terre.
Yeah.
He's going to hit up some of those 100-year-old Victorian porches and knock those down. And so that's a pretty good, I don't know if everybody knows, but he did win the Hunter's Ridge 55 last year or the year before.
I think it was 2 years ago.
I think that 2 years ago he won that race. Yeah. So he has a good chance at those other two, I would say. But
first feature win coming up, Ronnie.
Yeah. So, I mean, out of those two, I mean, he's got the most experience.
Yeah.
I mean, than anyone that shows up. So I'll just give him a shout out for that. All right. And that's his plans, I think.
There's your local report for you, Ronnie. Hope you like that.
Yeah.
And, hope you tune in again.
Yeah.
Let's, before we get on with today's guest, let's take a minute to thank our sponsor of the Dirty Right Rear podcast, Paul Clark with Clark Salvage, located on Sims Road off of B Highway in Park Hills. It is Missouri's largest U-Pull junkyard. New cars arriving daily and over 35 acres worth of cars. You can check out Clark Salvage on Google or Facebook or call 636-232-3795. They are open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, Saturday, 8 to 12.
I did want to say one more thing about you know, we were talking about our local stuff and everything. We do got two kind of parts places around here. You know, Daryl Dickerson has that Double D Motorsports out there in Farmington, and then Danny Long has his shop out there too. If anybody is looking for stuff before the season starts, I know that it's kind of our only two places really around here that you can maybe pick up something here and there, but we haven't really mentioned them yet, and I did want to bring that up.
Speaking of Danny, did he call you Friday night?
No.
Okay. I think he's going to reach out to you.
Oh God.
Yeah. So, no, it's nothing bad. Danny called me Friday wanting your phone number, and we mentioned him a couple episodes ago, and he's seen it, and it meant a lot to him. We had good things to say about him, and he really appreciated that. So he was going to personally thank each one of us. So at some point he'll reach out to you.
I'm sure I'll see him for too long. When you go in there, I'll probably get something from him. I'll be there for 4 or 5 hours.
Yep. Clear your calendar.
Okay.
Well, all right. Let's get on with our guest on for the day.
Okay. We're here back, Dirty Right Rear Podcast. We got our first guest here, Max Crabtree, Maximus. And so what do you think, man? You ready for this first podcast?
I'm ready to go.
Are you ready? Well, Sutton's going to have all kinds of good questions for you.
I got a bunch of questions. Fire off. Who are you? Where are you from? And how old are you?
I'm Max Crabtree. I'm from Farmington, Missouri. I'm 15. And, yeah.
Made the long trek from Farmington, huh?
Yeah, sure did. 10 minutes, actually.
Yeah, that's a long way. Yeah.
So, hold on. I'll let Sutton ask his questions because he's probably going to ask this. I don't want to get in the middle of it.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Okay. So how long you actually been racing?
4 years.
4 years. I didn't think you've been racing like since you were a kid, but what did you kind of start in with?
I started in an Outlaw 250 kart at Doe Run, then had to get out of that because I about broke my back with no suspension and all that. So went to a TW race car unrestricted for Heath Ross and ran that for a little bit, so he helped a lot. And then met Cole and that one dude named BJ. I don't even know what he was doing with the Skechers on.
Yeah,
and
he's
stuff
he's a handful.
So
did he teach you about quarter midgets?
No,
Did he try to kind of like mentor your dad on how to be quarter midget dad?
No, I hope not. So met them with the hyper stuff. Got started with them with the hyper stuff, and they helped a lot. And then ran some restricted stuff with Joe B and Derek Despain and Brad McDaniel. They all helped a lot. I remember one night at Doe Run, Derek came just to help, and we won the restrictor race, and then we went to the A-class race, or the Outlaw, but they didn't run A-class back then, and then we ran the A-class motor with the Outlaw and led every lap but 3 when he was helping, so that was pretty good. And then after that, we were kind of by ourselves, and we met, my sister finally decided to help and got with Colton Hardy, and he helped a lot with all that stuff.
Yeah, he took my job.
Yeah. So he helped a lot. It's nice to have him around because he believes in me and helps a lot every time, and had to jerk my helmet off of me sometimes when I get mad and all that. So he helped a lot. Then we met Troy Leonard, and met Chris Hinkle through Troy, and they helped. Chris Hinkle's motor and injection stuff is really good and helps a lot, so I don't think I'd be here without them. And yeah, here we are.
Now, is that whose car you drove, I guess, at DeCoin last week? Now, was that, I said it was an A-class car.
Yes, it was.
Okay, that's what I thought.
yeah.
I thought it was, but I wasn't really 100% positive. But I said it, and then I was like, oh, man. Somebody's going to be like, oh, that was an outlaw car. You're giving him too much or something like that. But
No, it was the A-class car.
I thought it was. So
Yep.
I thought that me and your dad talked about how Troy was wanting to just shake him down, and he didn't really have, anyone to shake it down, and called you, and you guys said, yeah, let's go.
Yep, and ended up finishing 7th.
I've seen that.
So how'd you do at DeCoin in that car?
Pretty good. We went, we were fourth quickest in hot laps, I think, and then we went from, I think it was 3rd to 2nd in the heat race, and started like 9th in the feature and finished 7th. So
Pretty good run with the A car.
Was there too much difference between like his stuff and you guys' stuff, really?
Not really. I mean, it's the same stuff we run with the same motor and everything. Just the car setup was kind of different. But I ran his setup before in my own car to practice at the Sprague, so that kind of helped. So yeah, wasn't that bad.
So are you going to be in that car at Tulsa?
No, I'm going to be driving my own car for Winged Outlaw and Non-Wing Outlaw, and then I'm going to be driving the 24M car for Weston Burner in A-Class Wing and A-Class Non-Wing.
Okay. So I assume your first race ever was at Doe Run?
Yes.
All right. And what year was that?
I don't know.
4 years ago, I guess?
4 years ago,
Yeah,
probably.
okay. So that was one of the first years Doe Run had reopened, I guess.
Yeah,
one
it
of
was,
them.
I think.
You want to take a moment, thank your sponsors?
Yeah, I got a list, actually.
Let's hear it.
I got Crabtree Concrete, which is my dad, New Way, Ace Accounting, Hinkle Performance, Nicholson Mechanical, Coljack, Box 3 Media, and 45 Fab.
Those sponsors are big and make it to where you can do what you do, right?
Yeah, they help a lot with all the racing stuff.
All right. Who's your racing hero?
I would say Tyler Courtney, because 1 year...
Courtney or Robbins?
Courtney, he's got pretty good aim with his steering wheel, by the way.
He'll be our guest next week.
Yeah,
so we can
ask
talk
him
about
that. Ask him about that aim. Anyways, yeah. So we were at the shootout 1 year, and my sister is best friends with his now fiance. So he stayed at the same house we did, and he barely even made it out of E-Main that year, and I was already locked in the 3 qualifiers. So I think it was one heat race. We were staying in the same house. One heat race, he was leading it. It was like his only class that he wasn't in E-Main for, and he got wrecked. So right when he walked in, I had the flow racing up right when the dude hit his bumper, and I paused it right there. And right when he walked in, I pressed the play button so we could watch that again. And then we were at US 24 for a KKM, and I sucked. And I was leading the heat race and spun out and flipped. And then I think it was like a week after on my birthday, and I was pretty down on myself after that race. And he texted me and told me that I was way better than he was at that age, and to not give up. And yeah, so he's helped a lot with just moral support. And
That's cool.
yeah,
I never was a Tyler Courtney fan, and then he switched over to sprint car, and I became a fan. He's fun to watch.
yeah, he's fun to watch. Yeah,
He he's grown up a lot, I guess you can say, in the racing world, and it's pretty cool to see him come to Farmington and get his first 410 wing win.
Well, he's going to have a chance to redeem himself at the shootout this year because he ain't going to have no.
yeah, he's racing for a Gopian now.
Yeah,
so
he's going to have
might
one
be a
of the
little
best
different.
of the best cars out there, so
Okay.
he ain't got no excuse this year.
Yeah.
Nope,
I guess, is he running all 4 classes for Hagopian? Do you know?
I think so.
I don't know. I mean, I would imagine all those guys show up there. They're gonna
Right.
run everything they can. I would imagine, but yeah, every car he's got's going to be
Top of the line.
top of the line, brand new. I'd imagine. So
Yeah, sounds like it.
we'll have to step it up this year.
So, Max, how many wins do you have total? Do you know?
I don't. I think it might be like 10, 11,
Right.
13, 14.
What's your biggest win?
I'd say the now 600 race at Doe Run this year is probably. I was leading a big race at Sweet Springs for Frank Galusha, and I went like 5th to 1st on the first lap, and then on a restart, I completely missed the bottom and got passed by like 5 cars.
I guess that would be probably the biggest heartbreaker.
Yeah.
Because that was going to be my next question.
Yeah, that would be.
What do you think about Frank's stuff? I mean, the difference between all his stuff and like all the hyper stuff.
I think the hyper stuff just drives different. You're like more rotated with the hyper stuff when you enter the corner, but that car was kind of just straighter going into the corner, but it was fine. I liked it a lot. We did really good. We locked in the both shows at the Show Me Showdown, which is the race Cole won. So,
and those were B&B cars. It wasn't the Stallard, right?
Yeah, it was a B&B, yeah. But that thing ran pretty good.
So there's a handful of people jumping on that B&B I've seen. So
they're good cars.
Yep. I think a lot of those are. I don't want to say they're all the same, but man, you jump into say. I mean, I know the Stallards aren't around no more, but the B&B and some of all those cars out of that area are kind of all pretty similar cars, but
yeah, well, they all kind of. I mean, it's the same base and all that. So
who builds the B&B cars? I'm not familiar with those.
I don't know. I don't know that either.
Really? Okay.
Nope. And I mean, there ain't a ton of them out there.
Right.
They're all in California.
Yeah, they're all out that way. But I'm going to say most of them, a lot of the stuff's Joe's stuff, and just your more common parts you can probably buy. But they're good looking cars though. Yeah.
Are they full down tube or?
Oh yeah, you ain't got any of those anymore unless you round up a sweet 2000 Roni car or a CS9.
I was gonna say I don't CS9. They're not, but are they still popular?
I don't even really know if they build them unless you probably would call.
You see like 2 or 3 at the shootout, and that's about it.
There's a handful.
That's
of
where
them.
I see them a few times, and that's about it.
I think they're cool looking, just because it's a hand built thing from some weird motorcycle guy building them, so I think that's a cool story.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than that, I looked inside one the year I bought a car, and the inside looked small, so I was kind of out on that. I mean, I wasn't going to drive it, but
should have.
Yeah.
Still got time.
I still got time, but I mean, these kids would just cry and cry. And
oh man,
out there just freaking slamming them and putting it to the front. And I'd be cashing checks all day, and it'd just be a bad deal.
Speaking of slamming them, let's go. This is my favorite question of our podcast. We are the Dirty Right Rear Podcast, so let's hear about the dirtiest right rear you've ever thrown and the dirtiest right rear you've ever had thrown on you.
Well, I haven't really gotten a right rear before, but I've gotten wrecked a couple times. I got wrecked in a transfer spot at the KKM Give Back. I mean, I was running like 6, they were taking 8, and then Gavin Miller decided to go full throttle in the back end of me and never lift. So, yeah. And then...
What track was that at?
Port City.
Okay.
And then I dumped someone at the Coin because I was running the bottom, and I knew I was kind of slow, so I was just trying to protect because it was an A-class motor with an Outlaw. And so I kind of got I was running the berm and ended up almost in the fence how hard I got hit. So the next corner, I just went completely into his bumper, and he found out.
You want to say who that was?
Well, he already did, so.
Oh, that was just the other day.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was
okay.
last week.
I didn't know we were talking about a different one because I was like, man, I was trying to think about it, but.
Yeah. So, yeah, everybody thinks just hit people and they're not going to do it back. And
I think I actually talked to him after because it didn't show any of this on the
broadcast.
Yeah, on the broadcast. So I was like, I didn't even know nothing about it. And I was like, well, that's weird. Well, then I was talking to Tyler because we were going over scheduling and all this, and he's like, I kind of feel bad how I acted because I'm supposed to run the WFO and I did this. And I was like, oh, man, that happens. Every single person has that story.
Yeah, I'm just glad
somebody that you done something or whatever. But was it an MPI steering wheel?
I don't know. I would have not thrown mine. My steering wheel's nice.
Heck no, man. People throw those helmets and steering wheels,
one of those
man.
metal ones. I even flinched.
Oh, if it was a Joe's, I'd have threw it.
Yeah, it was like one of the metal ones. I had a side panel on, so that helped. So I didn't get hit. Yeah, his aim, it hit right.
Did
the side panel.
Your car owner Troy see it?
Yeah.
Did it put any kind of mark on the car or anything?
No.
Oh, dang it.
I don't know. I didn't look.
You should have put like Band-Aid stickers on it for the shootout. Or, well, you're not running it, but still. He should just put a big old circle with an arrow on it or something like that. Or have Tyler sign it.
Yeah.
That's funny. So we'll move on to 2025. What are your 2025 plans?
Probably just to run all the big micro stuff, all the KKM stuff, maybe getting a sprint car, some for practice and stuff, and maybe a midget, and keep on running micros all year and see how good we do.
Whose sprint car would you hop in?
Probably Colton Hardy's, the 41 car, so yeah.
Did he bring a car here with him?
He has one at his house, a sprint car, but he's running the shootout, all 4 classes, I know for sure, in the micro.
Okay. Does he still have 360 stuff?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. That's what he used to run, the ASCS stuff. He has won that a couple times, the championship.
He comes up here, he's going to have to sell all that and get him a 410.
Heck yeah. He'll be running there with Hartley. And
I know. Him and Hartley be running it out.
you gave Hartley enough heck today.
Boulevard, stuff like that.
He's tough. He can handle it, maybe. Who, you want to thank your pit crew? Tell us about your pit crew.
Mainly my dad.
Hold on. I wanted to talk about, go ahead and talk about your pit crew. I wanted to talk about your pit crew. Yeah, go ahead. Okay. Just tell us who your pit crew is.
So my dad, Chris Hinkle, Colton Hardy. Chris Hinkle builds the motor, so he's a big help. Troy for always wanting to try new stuff with the car and all that, so he's a big help. And my mom's a big help because she allows me to do it, so there's that. And yeah.
Oh, well, you didn't even mention the guys I was thinking about.
Well, who's that?
Well, he has the most pit crew that comes with him that I don't know if they know what a wrench is. Between Ryder, I think Ryder,
Ryder's
and Gunner. They politic. They are politics. If they're a politicians, when you go over there, you can talk to them for hours. But they're wearing white shoes, white pants.
Ryder helps more than Gunner does.
Well, yeah, I've seen him a little more, so he probably feels a little like, man, I'm here. I think I may
Ryder's
need
on
to
there
do
too.
something.
Forgot about him. We forgot about him.
Okay, well, I'm glad I brought him up. But yeah, these guys are like, they wear white clothes to the races, and a lot of times they're still white when they leave. You'll see his dad do all of it, and then I think when something gets a little dirty, some chain oil comes off or something, Ryder's like, hey, get some fries, man. I'll be right back, man. I'll be right back.
He leaves.
Oh, that's funny. What's your favorite racetrack?
I'd say Port City, just because the way it races, and yeah.
Man, that's 2 weeks in a row we've had a...
You're going to hear that a lot.
Yeah.
Port City's like a Peevely of... Port City is a hair smaller than Belleville, and Belleville was the king for micros. And I know a lot of these younger guys didn't get to run Belleville. If they got to run Belleville, they would be saying Belleville.
Right.
100%.
Yeah.
But Port City is the same deal. It's just smaller. But and everybody wants to talk about how crazy and like hard these Oklahoma kids drive. If you go to Port City, you'll understand because it's half the width.
Yeah, well, it's normal for the national. Like you bump into somebody at national races, and it's just so like okay. Yeah. But like you go to the local stuff, you bump them, and they're ready to fight.
Oh yeah, it's a nightmare. But they don't understand that a lot of these kids, Doe Run is a wide track for say our local track compared to Port City. You're gonna beat up some parts at places like that. And that's just if you don't, then you're probably not going to be in the front. So
yeah, and Doe Run's bigger than like SIR and Coles County and all the tracks that mainly run micros.
What so we talked about your favorite track. What's your least favorite track? If you have one.
I'd probably say Wayne County, not because it races bad or anything. I just suck there all the time. Okay. I never do good there.
Yeah, but that track is like old school Doe Run before. It's like you're racing on a beach, in my opinion. It's so sandy and weird, man.
The track's the track's good. I just don't do good there.
Yeah. That place has always just been weird from every time I've been there. It's just always acts weird.
So you never know what it's going to do. Almost.
And it looks sand, and it looks like it's slick everywhere, and then all of a sudden some guy rips the top, and it's there. Yeah. And you're like, the hell, he's up in the freaking beach up there with the umbrella. And
I like their tires, though. You could hit their tires and keep on going.
Tell us about the worst crash of your career.
I think it was when I was running a TW car for Heath and Restrictor. I jumped somebody's right rear and did like 6 barrel rolls and had oil dumped all over me and all that. So that was pretty cool.
Was that Doe Run?
No, that was at SIR.
SIR. Okay. Yeah, they don't sound like fun.
I never really flipped at Doe Run. I just hit the tire a time or two and completely got rid of the axle.
Yeah, those things are. I don't like those things.
What's your favorite type of track conditions?
I like it when it's just slick and on the bottom because I feel like I could run the bottom really good when it's technical, and not a lot of people can when it's like that. So it's pretty fun to run it like that. I mean, I'm not the greatest on a big old cushion or whatever, so I got better at it. At the KKM last year, I ran it in a qualifier and won my qualifier on the cushion, surprisingly. So yeah,
good deal. What class or what type of car do you want to race as an adult when you grow up? I'd say
a midget, because I just think the sprint car stuff's kind of boring to watch sometimes. And the midgets, it's so close racing all the time, so it's pretty cool to watch. And Chili Bowl would be nice to run.
Your dad's gonna have to get some more concrete going for the midget.
Yeah.
That midget's expensive, man.
Yes. Well, everything's expensive.
I mean, the sprint car is expensive, but you can go run so many. I think. Well, now you can. If you got a sprint car this next year, I think you're gonna be doing pretty good because I mean, there's a lot of 410 stuff. It used to be like, hey, you go to Farmington and race a few times, hit up a Maui show or whatever, and stuff like that. But other than that, this next year, I think it's going to be pretty good with all that other stuff.
I think the problem with the sprint car stuff is you have to go so far to get really good competition. So that's why I like the midget stuff.
The midget, man, I love those cars. Those are so cool. I'm looking forward to that Chili Bowl, even though it's going to be I don't want to get sick though, man. That dome. By the way, I'm never going to the dome ever again. They can have those cars because I got sick for a week. I said I'd go back.
The dome's awesome.
No, the dome sucks. They can have those cars, man. I hope they have a football team in there and that thing gets canceled. I got so sick, I thought I was dying.
Yeah, he's been.
It was
crying
two or 3 days after the dome, and I was like, it can't be the dome. I didn't want to blame it on the dome, and I'm blaming it on the dome now.
That's what comes
because
with
I go to shootout and I go to Chili Bowl and I don't get it.
I get it.
Dome. I think it's just because those big old nasty cars, man. I mean, say that when
late models are awesome.
Late models are pretty cool. I would do late model. That's cool, and I like the modifieds. I keep hammering on them, but man, I can't keep doing that. Everybody's gonna.
He mouths it, but he'll be going back next year.
Yeah, you'll get sick after the shootout in the Chili Bowl, especially if you go to the Chili Bowl.
We used to go with me and the Boyd brothers, Joey and Tommy. We'd go down there when the shootout and the Chili Bowl were back to back. We'd stay for like 15 days.
I can do that.
And I wouldn't get sick. But I was also young and we drank some. So I think that killed everything.
Yeah.
And I don't really drink now. So if the dome, I should have drank some of those $27 beers and I'd probably been okay.
Why'd you stop drinking?
I got the diabetes and that affects me. Sometimes I can't walk. It's kind of weird.
Everybody has to have a good time sometime.
I mean, the Chili Bowl, I'll probably drink some and have some fun. I don't think I'm going to not be able to with the whole group we have. But I pay for it real bad. You know, I'll wake up and like Lieutenant Dan, my legs don't work. It's bad. So it's different. When you get older, you'll realize that that affects you. And it'll probably, if I would really get all hammered up on a Monday, I probably wouldn't be able to go back to Chili Bowl till Thursday.
Dang.
Because I'd be sleeping and who knows what, because I'd be so tired. But the diabetes will get you, man. You gotta take care of that. And I can't see half time now, so I don't know what's up with that either.
Man, falling apart over there.
I know, it sucks.
So I only got a couple questions left. What's your favorite pre-race meal?
Well, I don't eat before I race because I'm afraid I'm going to throw up or something. So I kind of stay pretty focused before I race and don't try to eat or drink it. Or I drink water, but that's about all I do.
Well, that was my next question. What's your go-to for a drink before the race?
Probably water or Prime or Gatorade or...
No Crown and Coke or anything like that?
None of that.
Okay. All right, well, that's all the questions I got, Jeremy. I know you probably got a couple.
Yeah, I got a couple in my mind, I guess. At school, when you go to school and everything, does everybody kind of know you're a superstar race car driver?
I mean, most of them.
You tell them?
Yeah. Well, they just know.
Well, I was talking to your dad the other day, and he was talking about putting you in private school because the chicks are just beating you down because they know.
Yeah, that's normally how it works.
That's what I figured. It happened to me a lot, too.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. It happens a lot nowadays.
It happens a lot. They know I'm a pit crew guy now, and I'm still like, whoa.
Yeah, I got
it. Off me.
Yeah, that's how I am.
Yeah.
You got, when you walk around school, you got two under each arm?
That's like,
sure do.
Parsons didn't want to tell me about it. He wants to have one girl.
Oh, they're all
All
over.
he wants is one girl. I said, man, you're at the age. You need to have racetrack girl, school girl, neighborhood girl. I mean, because you can't drive, so they ain't going to know.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, no, I'm one woman man. I was like, well, you're going to be a good one for somebody then. Also, I mean, you do some kind of sports too, aren't you? Big into, I'm going to say basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
I thought you were like pretty good basketball or doing something like that, but I didn't want to throw it out there and say.
The only sport.
That's the only sport?
I play
basketball?
besides racing.
You play on the school team?
Yes.
JV or varsity?
Freshman.
Freshman? Okay. I know I seen the Farmington varsity got the number 1 seed at the Central Christmas tournament.
Yeah, they beat St. Mary's too, so they're doing pretty good. Yeah.
I knew they was going to be pretty decent this year.
Yeah.
But,
I don't keep up with that. I graduated in 98 and left it.
They're ranked like 9th in Class 5, I think.
Farmington is?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't realize that. Got anything else?
Farmington still gets to play all the good teams and stuff too, like North County and all them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because I like all these people that go to Central and get to jump on the Central bandwagon. How they're playing like Bunker R7 and freaking all these schools. They're like, man, we're undefeated. Yeah, well, you were defeated back in the day, but now that they got you in like Class 9 or whatever it is, now you beat everybody because you're playing all these. You're playing schools I never even heard of.
Yeah.
And we have little arguments at home about the whole Central deal because they're in such a class of, Bunker and I don't even know half the other little crappy ones. A Noblick, I think they play Noblick and stuff like that. Gumbo.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
The hate is real.
Yeah, well.
Central hater over here.
Yeah, well, because Central, man, come on. That's where you send all your kids to go to make sure they pass. You want to get education, you go to Farmington and North County, stuff like that.
Well, Ryder goes North County. I don't know about the education.
Well, he's
he's
learning to be a businessman. That's why he's white gloves at the racetrack.
Yeah.
He's not in the vocational part, I bet. But
probably not.
No, I just harp on Central because my girlfriend works there, and she's always like, "Man, we did this and we did this," and I'm like, "What'd you do in like '98? What'd you do in '96?
Yeah, we won't talk about that.
You played all of us cool schools,
Yeah.
I know you beat Gumbo 71-0 last Friday, but come on. But
God.
Hey, wait, didn't you live in Gumbo at one time?
The outskirts.
Outskirts.
Yeah, I was on the outskirts. You didn't have to go through Gumbo if you didn't want to.
Okay.
I was on the outskirts. And if they'd had a team then, we'd have probably beat Central.
I guess that'd be considered the north side of Gumbo, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, by the river.
Yeah.
Like Cole?
Yeah,
By the river?
By the river.
All right, got anything else for Matt?
I don't think so, man. You got it? Got anything else you want to talk about?
I think so.
Oh, good.
Thanked everybody, I think. I think I won't get in trouble by my mom or dad for not thanking anybody. So.
Is your mom ever going to watch any of these races?
I don't know. She don't watch for some reason. She can't do it.
What'd you think of being on your first podcast?
I thought it was pretty fun. Pretty cool.
It is a good time. So
I was kind of nervous once I got up here.
Then it's just BSing with your buddies after that.
Pretty much.
It's easy, and then all you got to do is lie and make up stuff, and then everybody thinks it's cool.
I mean, I don't know if like the woman being all around you is probably a lie. But
no, you should have seen it back in my prime. But I was cut. I mean, I was hitting the gym. I mean,
with his car,
I was big time.
Yeah,
I worked out before work, after work, and I was big, but. The diabetes doctor, he said, "Hey, man, you need to stop all that and just get down to normal stuff." So.
Where's Willow when we need her to call him out on his lies?
She called you out last episode.
That's why I just kind of trimmed down a little bit. And have you ever shopped when you really work out all the time? I had to cut my shirts here. It was ruthless. So I quit all that. And then the chicks was just out of control. Panties everywhere, throwing them at me and stuff. So...
Let's before we get too much off track here, let's thank Paul Clark again. Paul Clark with Clark Salvage, located on Sims Road off of B Highway in Park Hills. Clark Salvage is Missouri's largest U-Pull junkyard. Paul has over 35 acres of cars with new cars arriving daily. You can check him out on Google or Facebook or call 636-232-3795. They are open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, Saturday, 8 to 12. Here we are back on the Dirty Right Rear podcast with guest number 2 of the day. You want to introduce yourself? Tell us your name, your age, where you're from.
I'm Brody Bridgeman. I'm 13 years old, and I'm from Farmington, Missouri.
How'd you get into racing, Brody?
My dad did it for a long time, and so did my grandpa. They did all that. They were into it, and then I grew up watching my dad race, and I thought it was pretty cool, so I kind of tried it out, and it's super fun.
I'd like to see your dad get back in a sprint car.
I would, too. I'm ready to race him. I'm ready to kick his butt.
Yeah. Does he still have a sprint car in the garage?
He has one in the ceiling, or like in the loft that's junked, but it still counts. And then we have one down that I think we're going to build here soon, and I'm going to get into and try it out.
Awesome.
I seen Benton. Doesn't Benton run 305 every other week now?
I think so.
I seen they just released their schedule, and I think I seen 305 every other week.
So while we're on, I'm going to bounce around here, but while we're on this future and, stuff, is a sprint car the car you'd like to drive when you get older?
Yeah, I would love to drive a sprint car when I get older. I think it'd be super cool and just so much fun. I love watching them.
Yeah.
Like when they get into a good battle, they're just throwing sliders every corner, and then they'll crash each other, and then everybody will get mad, and it's just awesome.
Yeah, that's what I like. I've seen your dad crash a few times.
Only a couple times. But that's a complete lie. He crashes all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've watched you, like me and your dad just talk about, I've watched you since when did you start? About 5 years old?
4 or 5, yeah, around there.
Yeah. I remember you had some rough days too.
Just a couple. Just a couple.
But that's something that I've talked to your dad a lot about over the years. The last 2 years, man, you've improved so much as a driver. It's been fun to watch, honestly.
Yeah.
So I know you're really enjoying it. And
Oh, yeah, I love it.
yeah. So tell us about your family.
My dad, he races cars. My mom, she's a teacher at Caledonia. My grandpa, he was a pit crew. He helped work on the cars for as long as he could. My grandma is one of my biggest fans. She's right there hanging with my mom. And my family's awesome. They support me so much. They just help out whenever I need it.
Yeah. Your grandpa was a good guy.
Oh, he was a great guy.
I loved every time I'd have a conversation with him. And I guess the last time I talked to him, I want to say, was he at DeCoin last year?
Yeah, I think he was.
Okay.
He was at the shootout as well.
Yeah, I think DeCoin last March was the last time I got to see him, talk to him. So I know you guys miss him. But
Oh, yeah, a lot.
yeah, he was a good dude.
You said your mom works at Caledonia?
Yeah.
They played Central too, I think.
Yeah, probably. It's one of those schools that you never hear of, but she likes it. It's a pretty small school.
Is that the... Never mind. That's the school, yeah. It's,
Yeah, you better not go there.
Yeah, it's that one school. Can't talk about that.
Where was your first race? Do you remember?
It was either Flickerwood or like St. John or something like that.
I think it was probably, that was before St. John existed. I believe it was probably Flickerwood. Was that right, Jimmy? Flickerwood?
His very first race was in the middle of Farmington.
Oh, yeah. It was in the middle of Farmington when they
Okay.
had all that.
Yeah. Well, actually, I guess your first race would have probably been Power Wheel
Oh, yeah.
at Farmington.
I think I remember doing that.
Yeah,
I was pretty quick.
I remember you done it, and all the racer kids done it.
Yeah,
you know?
I remember half of that now.
Yeah, I'd forgot about those. So let's talk about the Tulsa Shootout. What classes are you running? What car?
So we're going to have 2 cars up there. I'm going to run A-Class Wing and A-Class Non-Wing. Then I'm going to have my Outlaw car. I'm going to run Outlaw Wing and Outlaw Non-Wing. I'm running all 4.
All 4 in your family-owned cars?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I seen, talking about that, the 2 Farrell cars, right?
Yeah,
Right.
the 2 Farrell.
I was thinking the other day, I seen, I know you guys had a lot of parts and stuff issues trying to get parts and this and that from, the Farrell cars aren't as common or whatever, but man, there is probably 10 of them for sale on Facebook. I think you guys should just buy them all.
I don't think so. I think we're going to switch.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I had a plan, so thought you just buy them all, be your own thing, and you had 10 cars, and that should get you through the year. I would maybe.
I don't know. With this year, I've crashed a lot. We might need 10 more.
Oh, I know. I seen a lot of Nerf bars, wheels, an exhaust. Yeah, I know there's a lot of front left wheels were
Front
pretty
axles.
common. But yeah, there was a good pile of parts that every track got to keep.
Yeah. It was like my gift to the track.
Yeah.
There you go.
Until Will or Cohen and a couple other boys would dig them out of the creek, bring them back, and then they would end up back in the trailer.
Yeah.
What you said you want to switch? What chassis would you like to switch to?
Probably like a hyper. I want to go to a driven, but my dad says we're not doing that. For I don't even know. But I want to move to a hyper. I think that's a pretty good car, and it's not like they're going to go out of business anytime soon.
Yeah, no, I think you're pretty good there.
The old driven, man, you spend some money on those.
Oh yeah.
That's the only downfall with those, man. Their stuff is high dollar. California money. they all have it. So,
Do you have any sponsors you want to thank?
I want to thank Sammy's Hauling, JP Construction, J&B Rentals, my mom, my dad's checkbook, obviously, because that's where it all comes from.
Yeah, that's a
that's
good
where
one.
it all started.
Yeah,
J-Maddox Flooring, FCAC, HRC. My grandpa, he helped a ton with all that. Probably many area well service. I think that's about it.
Hearing you say FCAC, I realized I missed the question. What are your hobbies outside of racing?
Oh, I do all kinds of stuff besides racing. I do dance. I do gymnastics. I run cross country. I run track. I used to play football, but I kind of got away from that.
Yeah. You don't quite have the football build.
No,
Yeah.
I'm a little skinny guy.
Yeah. Speaking of, dancing and gymnastics, I remember being at the studio one day and your dad coming over and showing us his dance moves and, that big guy doing a backflip. And I think he could even do the splits, if I remember right.
Yeah, he got some good moves.
Yeah. Is that where you learned yours from?
Oh, yeah, all of them.
Yeah, okay.
Definitely.
Wasn't from your mom?
No.
No, okay. Who's your racing hero?
Oh, that's a tough question. It's probably like Kyle Larson or something. I look up to him a lot. He's really cool.
Yeah. Have you ever met Kyle and talked to him?
I think I've met him, but I don't know if I've really talked to him. I've talked to Owen a lot, though.
You'll be racing against him at Shootout.
I know.
I think he signed up for 1 or 2 classes. Maybe.
Kyle did? Mm-hmm. Did he really? Yep. I didn't realize that.
I think he's driving a Chad boat car, I believe.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. He's going to be there, so.
I seen he was in like New Zealand or somewhere
right
on the 30th or whatever, so that's wild.
Yeah,
but then he still signed up, so
right.
I would say he's just going to go there because his boy's going to run. So.
Right. Oh, yeah. What is your biggest win?
Probably the KKM give back race at Doe Run in Sweet Springs. I've won 2 of those. And the Cornfield Combat, that was probably my coolest win because I came from like mid-pack, and on the last corner I kind of crashed a dude. I didn't really crash him. I kind of just moved him out of the way, and I ended up winning, and we argued with them a lot. It was kind of funny.
Do you know how many wins you have over your racing career?
Ooh, I've been racing for a long time, so if we added them all up, it's probably close to 100.
Man, you're already smoking dad then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember my one time I drove a micro for this guy, and I finished like 5 laps down. And I thought I was going fast until your dad blew past me. And I'm like, what the heck was that? I'm like, man, that was a long time ago. But
Sutton drove that micro of mine, and we seen him every 3 laps.
Yeah.
Every 3 laps, we were like...
It was bad.
It was bad.
I'd never, I was a drag racer, and he called me up. He's like, I think I was at his house, and I said, man, I'd love to drive one of those one time. He's like, you want to race one Saturday? And I'm like, what? He's like, we got that car over there, and it was a bare frame, nothing on it. He's like, let's put that car together and race. And I'm like, dude, I work midnights. I don't. He said, I'll put it together. So, Jeremy, I don't remember who helped you put it together. Might
have been Chuck Fenwick, actually.
Maybe they threw this car together in a week's time, and I showed up the racetrack, and I'd never been on dirt.
He rolled in with his bag and everything, and people are screaming at him. Hey!
I thought I was a big shot, and then these guys showed me what a fast car was.
I think the heat races were 8 laps. Sutton did 5, and then the feature was 20 laps, and Sutton did 11.
I don't even know if I did that many. It was bad. It was bad. But hey, you know what? I scored a top 10. My one and only feature. I guess 20 of us started and 10 finished.
Hey, still counts.
That's right. Jeremy had 3 cars in top 10 that
I was going
night.
to say there was 3. I had 3 cars there at the time, but that was funny. Every time we went around, we'd slap the back of Sutton's car when we would pass it.
Come on, follow me.
I wonder if Doc Sloan still got that picture of us 3 hanging up in his office.
I still got it.
Do you?
Yep, I still have the pictures of those.
Yeah, there was one. We had to do it pace laps the only time I could keep up with them, so we did a pace lap of us all 3.
Yep,
So
me and you and Mark Schersch.
Yeah, it looked like we was all racing, but I wasn't racing. So you could have beat me when you was 5 in a go-kart. So that was my one and only. I did jump in a mini stock after that.
Yeah, was that fun?
That was actually a lot of fun, and I didn't race it. We went out and burned up 3 or 4 tires on Jason Cruz's truck at Doe Run one Sunday. And but I was actually fast in that. Me and Jason was turning pretty much the same lap times. Yeah. But
I just can't believe that class really never just stays alive, being how cheap it is, man. I don't get,
Right.
you know, it's an easy class, and I mean, but I think they cancel them and bring them back and cancel and bring them back so much that
Yeah.
it's just, you know, you can't expect people to keep them around, but.
Let's get back to Brody here. I know he don't want to listen to us ramble. Here's my favorite question, Brody.
Okay.
Dirty Right Rear podcast. What's the dirtiest right rear you've ever thrown and the dirtiest right rear you've ever had thrown on you?
Okay, let's start with the one that's thrown on me. That was probably Aiden Purdue at, I think, Coles County. I think it was the give back race there. I was going to make the preliminary night show, and here he comes, full throttle, not lifting. Boom! And it spun me out, and he goes on to make the feature, and then I'm like, why? Why?
Yeah, that happens. I know that's a tough break for sure.
I think what's really, I get it as some of the older kids, but I think what really sucks is a lot of them see you as a kid out there, and they know they're going to try to push you around.
Yeah.
They don't want to get beat by a kid.
Yeah.
He won't think it's so funny when it comes to shootout, and then he's in a transfer spot, and I'm not.
Ooh, spicy. I like it.
Uh-oh.
What about the dirtiest one you've ever thrown on somebody?
So, I don't really know the guy's name, but it was at the Doe Run Big Race. I think it was like last year. And we were coming out of a C main, and I think I threw it on him, and it was super short, and he spun me. And then I hit the wall square, and I think it broke something on his car. And that was the night that I got the preliminary, like the crowd's choice. So I ended up making the show still.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
That wasn't a clean slider.
Hey, it happens sometimes,
Yeah, it just
you know. What are your 2025 race plans?
So I think we're going to try and hit up all the big races and all the KKM and stuff, try to go all those. We missed a couple this year for just some problems, and I think we might get into a sprint car, a 305, try and run some of that.
Down at Benton?
Down at Benton, anywhere really, if we can find a good race.
Are you talking your own car, or are you going to drive for somebody that's the first?
It'll be our own car. We got it down. And I'll probably drive a little bit of my Outlaw kart more. We only ran one race this year so far in it.
I forgot you had that still. Yeah,
Yeah.
you won somewhere recently, didn't you?
Yeah, that was at DuQuoin, but there was only like 2 cars.
Well, hey, still a win. You know,
Yeah.
you could pull a Jeremy and lie and say there was 15.
Oh, yeah. I would have said there was all kinds of
Yeah.
And then I would have said that, you know, I pulled off, and then all chicks everywhere, and then everything happened.
That's how it is.
Tell us about. I don't think we've covered this with you yet. Tell us about your pit crew.
So my pit crew consists of my dad, my mom, my grandma, but she's more or less just like a fan. She'll try and help as much as you can, but don't tell her I said this, but sometimes she's in the way.
You know she's going to watch this.
Yeah, I know. I might be in trouble.
I'm going to tag her now.
Oh, no. Yeah, my mom will help buckle me in when it's being annoying, and my dad will work on the car, and then I'm the biggest part of the pit crew for sure.
You know, so your dad being a big burly guy like he is, you know, do you feel that guys, you know, don't say as much to you because they're afraid of your dad?
Yeah, I think that's how it is. But some of them little scrawny dudes will come up and try and say something, and then they'll come into our trailer talking to me, and then my dad will walk in, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's okay, dude." It's like, yeah, the whole tone changes.
Yeah, I always said I'm glad he's on my side because I wouldn't want him mad at me.
No, me either.
Yeah, has he ever been mad at you?
All the time.
All the time. Who wins those fights, you or Dad?
Most of the time him, but when we get in the car, we're friends and we can talk it out. But when it just happens, it's a full fight.
What's your favorite racetrack?
Probably like Port City or Macon.
Another Port City.
Yeah, it's just a really neat track to go to. And Macon, I love how banked it is because most of the time it'll get a cushion and the bottom will stay good and all that. It normally promotes pretty good racing.
Does Macon still have a lot of micro shows?
I mean, they did, and then last year, I guess the Kenny Brown, the Turners bought it, and then they canceled a bunch of them, and I don't think they really had much last year. And then I don't know if they will this coming year or not. I'm sure it's going to be on our schedule. We're going to release here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
or next week when we release that schedule. I'm sure pretty positive it'll probably be on there. The only downfall is WFO and Power I.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that's going to butt heads with everything.
Yeah,
But
makes sense.
we'll see.
What's your least favorite racetrack?
So this track is closed now. It was Lake St. Louis. I raced the outlaw kart there, and it always got so rough. I think there's a picture of me on like my Facebook or something with all 4 tires off the ground, and it was rowdy there. It was fun, but it was rough.
That was the Equestrian Center, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I went to a bunch of those races. I remember you and Kyle Steffens having a heck of a battle on the outlaw cart.
Yeah.
There.
We always had a ton of fun.
And there was somebody else come into town one time. It was a midget guy to race with you guys.
The 71 car, McDougal, I think.
Yeah, Jason McDougal. Yeah, I remember you put the butt whooping both of those guys.
Well, the only reason I did that is because, Steffens was in the front and McDougal was in the front, and they spun each other on the front stretch, and they were facing like this, and I just, whoop.
But you still kicked their butt at the end of the night.
I think I finished. I don't really remember.
I think you won that night, if I remember right.
Yeah, I think I was running like 5th at the time when I jumped them.
Yeah, and there was, they'd get 10 to 12 of those outlaw carts at that place.
Yeah, they always had a lot of cars there. I love when there was a bunch of cars there because it always,
right?
Like, you'd have one person on the outside of you trying to do something, and then you have one person on the bottom, and then you bang wheels down the front stretch. It was just crazy.
I had a lot of fun going to those races.
Yeah.
See, what's your favorite track conditions?
I like a slick racetrack with a little bit of moisture on the bottom and a massive curb. I love giant.
You like hitting that curb?
Oh yeah, I love bouncing off of it. Sometimes it's not my friend though. I've made a couple mistakes up there.
That'll eat you fast.
Yeah.
What's the worst crash of your career?
So the most disappointing crash of my career was at Doe Run with Kyle Busch. I was running second, and I hit the wall and flipped all the way down the backstretch, and that was terrible. And then my hardest hitting crash was probably US 24 in a heat race. My dad told me before to ease in, let them sort their stuff out. Well, here I go, running through the middle, just slipping through there, and then they spin out, and then I hop a curb, and then I land cage down. I cleared the fence and then just landed on my cage. There was no give.
So what did Dad say to you when you got back?
What did I tell you?
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
So we've already covered this, so I won't go. I was going to ask what class you want to race in as an adult, but you already said hopefully sprint car.
Yeah.
So that you want to go in World of Outlaw, high limit?
If World of Outlaw is still around, I'd like to run it a bunch, maybe do a full season.
Yeah.
And then if that falls off, probably high limit.
I don't think World of Outlaws is going anywhere.
Yeah.
High limit hurt them last year, but I think they'll be okay.
There's a lot of new programs coming out too.
Yeah.
So.
I'm about out of questions for you, but like my last two, what's your favorite pre-race meal?
I love those dirty racetrack burgers with all the dust on them and greasy and disgusting. They're so good.
Yeah. What do you put on them?
A ton of salt.
Ton of salt
Yeah.
and dirt?
Yeah.
Does the dirt kind of, you not taste the salt as much with all the dirt?
No, you can taste the salt. That's the best part. That's the only way I can get it down is with all the salt.
You're not a pickle fan like this guy?
I love pickles, but I don't like them on my burger.
Okay.
I don't even like bread on my burger. I'll take the bread off and just eat the burger.
Oh man, that's the best part.
Nah.
That's why I'm fat though.
No, that's what I used to do in my weightlifting days.
Yeah. What's your favorite pre-race drink?
I probably just drink some water or a Capri Sun. I love some
Capri Sun. All right.
Yeah.
What flavor Capri Sun?
Any flavor Capri Sun. They're all great.
Okay. Jeremy, you got some questions for Brody?
I don't think so, man. That's about it. We talked on everything. I know it's shootout. You got 4 classes, correct?
Yep.
I'm gonna say if the shootout is 50% luck, man, as everybody knows, and I'm gonna say this year, man, I'm gonna put you in one of the shows. I'm thinking with all your support and everything, and I think you got somebody big. I didn't want to bring it up, but man, I just have to. You got somebody big looking down on you that's going to give you the most luck out there, man. And I think that's what people need at that, and I think he's going to be pushing you along, and I think that you're going to be one of my picks that you're gonna put it in the show. One of them's gonna be in the show, man. I mean, I know. Well, of course, I'd love to have all four, but I think you're gonna have some really good luck on your side and people watching over you. And I think that that's gonna be a good deal for you. I think that's what everybody needs there.
I think the one that I can make, this might be a shocker. I think I can make Outlaw Wing. I think I can make that show. I turned a ton of laps on Sam's iRacing, and I was feeling real good about it. It felt great, and I think I know how to drive it.
Yeah.
I think I got this.
You need to talk Dad into getting your iRacing stuff.
I know.
It's a lot of fun. We got a group. We do iRacing every week.
Yeah, I need to cough that money up.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to go there because I know the racing is expensive already, but I don't know if he wants to add another expense, but man, it'd be fun.
Oh yeah, they're awesome.
We have a lot of fun with that. And, it's so cool this year how many locals are going the shootout. I'm sorry. And, one thing's apparent after, I guess we've interviewed 3 guys now, and all 3 of them in the micro world are traveling and doing big things this year.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's one thing that we wanted to highlight is there's so many local guys doing big things, big schedules, and that's why we're bringing you guys on. We think it's really cool that you guys are stepping out, doing all this big shows, doing all these things, and just want to wish you luck. And I want to see an interview on Flow Racing this year with you.
I'm ready. I'm gonna win.
I'll be there a couple days, so I might not get to see those on Flow, but one day I want to interview on Flow for you this year.
Okay.
Make it good.
I got you.
Okay. All right.
Make it
and I want a Dirty Right Rear podcast shout out.
Got you.
Okay. Don't forget that, buddy.
I know.
Last question. What do you think of being on your first podcast?
Oh, it was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
You enjoyed it?
Yeah.
Glad. All right. Well, thank you, Brody, for coming on.
No problem.
Good luck at Shootout.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, guys. Here we are again on Dirty Right Rear podcast. We just got done interviewing Brody and Max, and that was a lot of fun.
Yep, that was good.
Those guys are headed to Tulsa in about 2 weeks, and along with Cole and a bunch of people. And then I just realized that, in a recap there, I said we've interviewed 3 people, and no, we've interviewed 5.
Yeah,
counting the 2 kids last week that are going to travel and do big things. So, in our area has a lot of kids and up and coming racers that are going on to do big things that not a lot of people are going to know about. So that's one of the reasons we're bringing these guys on to, giving them some exposure and let them talk about their plans. And it's going to be an exciting time for local racing for sure.
Yep, next couple of weeks. I mean, you'll be able to catch a lot of that on certain different things. Of course, Facebook will have everything. All these kids, these 2 that we just had, Max and Brody, they'll be racing 4 classes. So that's a lot. And the other kids will be racing just 1. And then, there's probably 5 or 6 other kids that are always going to be, you can catch down there also.
Right. And for those who don't know, if you want to watch any of these kids, every lap of the Tulsa Shootout will be on Flow Racing. If you don't have it, I think it's $175 a year, but it's fabulous. And they might even have a monthly option. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't really know. I don't.
Yeah.
Mine just comes out every year, and
I
forget about it.
That's one of the best purchases I feel like I've made racing-wise. So.
Yep. Well,
got anything else?
I think that's about it, man. Hope everybody enjoyed this show, and thanks for watching our last one. And it got some pretty good views. The kids were wild, and had a little arguing with them and some other stuff. But everything went great, and I think this one will be a good one too. I think everybody will like it. And our next one coming up, we'll have 3 pretty big. I guess we can say who it is. We're having Brian. We're having Brian Reich of Coles County owns it. He also is. I think he has his hand in the WFO series, and then we'll have the WFO series promoters, or the guys that run it, Tyler Robbins and Rick Miller, Joe B. Miller's dad. They kind of run the WFO series. They're going to release all the scheduling, big money stuff, and it's all going to come down on this show. And then next Friday when we're at the shootout. Or, well, not next Friday.
Well,
the following
2 Fridays,
Friday.
Yeah. Well,
we'll be at the shootout, and
when they see this interview, it'll be next Friday when they see this podcast.
Yep. It'll all drop the Friday. Everyone's at the shootout, so I'm sure a bunch of it will get leaked. But
Right.
That's when everything will drop, and it's going to be a pretty big show.
Yep. So be sure to tune in to our Facebook page, because as of now, my plan is to go to the shootout for at least 2 full days. And I'm going to try to do a lot of behind-the-scenes videos, maybe a few interviews with the guys that we've talked to and kind of see how their week's going. So hopefully I can get some content on our Facebook page.
I bought a couple GoPros, so I'm going to try to figure those out, and I'll take some videos, and I'll get some stuff done. I'll be there all week.
Yep. So, all right, guys. Thanks for tuning in to episode 4 of the Dirty Right Rear podcast.
Thanks.
See you next time.